People tryna say I'm only enemy. Got a code with my dogs, can't get in between. I can give them life, no more energy. Amen.
Welcome in, everybody. We got probably what will be the most interesting series dramatically. We got the new form of the bad boy Pistons. We got Detroit right here. And the New York Knicks, historic franchise, Madison Square Garden. Obviously, they threw everything on the table to try and go get it with trading 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges this year. And they're in for a big test in round one. A lot of people like the Pistons as their upset of the first round to take over the Knicks. And we'll get into what we're thinking. But JJ, how are we feeling about this series?
I think this is going to be like one of the most interesting series of the playoffs, for at least for round one so far. You know, Pistons haven't made the playoffs in 17 years. Finally get to see Cade play in a big moment like this. And, you know, the Knicks have been battling injuries all season. It's going to be a lot to break down.
So let's get to it. First off, Jalen Brunson was out for a little while lately. He's worked his way back, came back a few games before the playoffs, and now he's going to get to face what will likely be a mix of Oscar Thompson and Dennis Schroeder defending him. Also, in that same pick and roll type of thing, we got Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart defending Karl-Anthony Towns. What a lot of teams have been doing against Karl-Anthony Towns and finding success is putting a stronger forward on him, not allowing him to stretch the floor effectively and keeping their big in the paint. JB Bickerstaff doesn't do that. He says, Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart, you got to defend Karl-Anthony Towns. Don't know why he does it, if I'm being honest. Couldn't tell you. But we're only working with the information we have in front of us, and that's what we're expecting. So I'll say this to start off. That's not a pick and roll defense that I want to see if I'm a Pistons fan. Oscar Thompson doesn't navigate screens very well, and you don't want Jalen Duren defending Karl-Anthony Towns. Jalen Duren likes to let centers shoot even if they are capable of shooting. Karl-Anthony Towns is very capable of shooting. So if you're going to let him do that, Karl-Anthony Towns is in a great spot to go cook. Jalen Brunson is in a great spot to just lose Oscar Thompson. Even when he doesn't lose him, get him in foul trouble. We know how Jalen Brunson is with that. We know Oscar Thompson can get in foul trouble at times. So, I mean, I'm not liking that if I'm backing the Pistons here, JJ. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, but, you know, when you look at Cat and Duren and that matchup, I think Duren's probably going to give up some buckets, but on the other end of the floor, he has to go grab some rebounds, especially offensive rebounds. I think rebounding is going to be the key here for Detroit. Control the pace of the game, control the flow. You know, when you look at the scoring for the Knicks, it's probably all going to be Jalen Brunson mainly. I'm not sure how much Josh Hart is going to be able to really do in this series. Like, can we expect him to shoot those ridiculous numbers that we saw last postseason? I mean, for me, I just don't think that's going to happen.
It's not happening. It's not happening. Last season, people forget. Like, people were like, oh, Josh Hart turned it on in the playoffs. He was shooting well like 2 weeks before the playoffs. There was clearly a switch that was flipped. Hasn't happened this year. So it's not like it came out of nowhere last year. It was there. If it happens this year, then it has come out of nowhere. So until I see it, I'm not going to back it.
Yeah. And then so still sticking with Knicks offense, why do you think Tobias Harris guarding OG and then Asar defending Brunson? Who's last?
Tim Hardaway on Bridges.
You probably have to think like Bridges would probably have to step up here, right? If you're looking at those matchups.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. I think Bridges has an advantage against Tim Hardaway. I think Anunoby does have an advantage against Tobias Harris from a strength perspective. So 4 across 5 positions, I think Knicks have a pretty decent advantage in terms of, hey, we need a bucket. The ball's in your hands. Find a way to score. there's 4 guys on the court at any given moment for the Knicks that I think can go do that given their matchups. The issue is that 5th guy, Josh Hart, until he's making his shots, is just not even in the equation. So you might as well be playing 5v4 defensively, and all those little gaps that you've built up across each of the 4 individual matchups, they now get balanced out by the fact that they're basically playing up mid, which is also why I don't understand why Duren and Stewart defend Cat, because if you can just have them as the low man protecting the paint and not worry about Josh Hart, I don't know why you wouldn't do that. But JB Bickerstaff, everybody.
You know him very well, being a Cavs
Unfortunately. So we can get to the other side of the ball. And another thing where I really don't like how the defense matches up, because what would make the most sense for me if I'm Tibbs is OG Anunoby, you guard Cade. You are one of the few people in the NBA who have the athleticism to guard a combo guard like a Cade, like a Luka, like LeBron. However, he puts OG Anunoby on Tobias Harris. He just wastes him. All that money in the picks that you traded for him was for scenarios like this, and you don't use him on Cade Cunningham. Instead, he's been using Mikal Bridges, which in his defense is also another expensive piece. But I don't like Mikal Bridges in this matchup at all. And I know you don't either, so I'll let you pick it up from here.
No, with Mikal, I mean, yeah, he has the length, but he's not the defender that we thought he'd be once he got like less usage coming to New York. You know, everybody thought, okay, like his defense is going to go back to where it was when he was in Phoenix. It just hasn't been the case. As soon as Brunson gets downhill, especially off that pick and roll, and Mikal Bridges can't catch up, you know, Brunson's going to use that hip, and then he's just going to get his floaters, he's going to get his layups. It's never been enough. I mean, yeah, he's gotten like a block here and there, but I'd rather have OG. OG navigates the screen so well.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would be the better spot for him. And I guess maybe they're worried about Tobias Harris' size, like as far as his strength versus Mikal. But I mean,
it's Cade. If you got to pick your poison, you're picking Tobias Harris every time.
Yeah.
I don't understand it at all. But
yeah, I don't know.
I will also say Malik Beasley coming off the bench is probably the X factor in this one, which kind of expected for any Pistons series, given that he's such a good guy off the bench. But I think Schroeder and McBride kind of cancel each other out off the bench. Isaiah Stewart, Mitchell Robinson cancel each other out off the bench. Malik Beasley is really the one that could potentially move the needle in the Pistons' direction. So I think that's a decent boost. And we also know we saw him in Madison Square Garden. He rose up to the occasion a little bit during the season. Hoping he can do that again this season because that was super entertaining. But it's really just, for me, it's going to be Cade and it's going to be Malik Beasley, even though Malik Beasley's been weird to finish the season. There's nothing else really in that Pistons offense where I'm plucking them out and I'm saying, if this doesn't happen, then we lose. Or if this happens, then we win. It's really just about those two for me.
Yeah, so with Mikal Bridges on Cade Cunningham, like, yeah, he has the length, but it's just not going to be enough because he's going to get on Cade Cunningham's hip and he's just going to work the post up and the mid range or get to the rim. And like, yeah, he got a few blocks here and there, but you know, OG Anunoby, this is what you paid him for, to defend those number one options. And he's just not going to be able to do that because he's on Tobias Harris for whatever reason. So, and I think OG Anunoby is the much better screen navigator. You know, he's going to be able to – that's what you pay him for. I don't understand it. It's really frustrating.
We're scared of Tobias Harris in the big 2025, I guess.
Apparently.
But, yeah, man, I think there's nowhere else on this Detroit team that I'm really worried about. Not worried about, but that I think makes a difference, really. Duren's not somebody that I'm relying on for 20 points. Tim Hardaway Jr. is about as streaky as they come, and even when he's hot, you're getting 15. Tobias Harris, he's a walk-in 12 to 18, whether the matchup is good or bad. So there really isn't much there. The key thing for me on the Detroit side is coming off the bench, because I think McBride and Dennis Schroeder cancel each other out pretty much on both offense and defense. Same with Mitchell Robinson and Isaiah Stewart. The last guy that the Knicks don't really have to match up with in terms of a boost off the bench is Malik Beasley. And I think that was kind of the intention of Malik Beasley's role as this boost off the bench throughout the season. And I think this is the perfect series for that to showcase itself. He's going to be the difference maker in this series. He's going to be the spark. He's going to be the piece that Detroit has that New York doesn't. So if he can go and be the Malik Beasley that goes and hits 4 threes and a dagger shot with 2 minutes left and finishes with 18 points, Pistons should close out those games that Malik Beasley performs in. If Malik Beasley's only hitting 2 threes and 8 points in 20 minutes, 25 minutes, Cade's going to have to play a lot of hero ball. The nice thing about that, for Cade at least, JB Bickerstaff is known to say, hey, my best player used to be on the Cavs and Donovan Mitchell. We're just going to give you the ball and you do what you do. We're not going to call a play. We're not going to get you some extra rest. We're not going to get these other guys involved. You just go be the best player on the floor and we'll live with it. So Cade's usage is going to be some of the highest we've seen all season. And with Mikal Bridges instead of OG Anunoby, assuming that doesn't get adjusted throughout the series, he should put up some good numbers.
He should.
Last thing before we get into the picks, summarizing everything. The coaching matchups. I love to talk about the coaching matchups in a 7-game series or potential 7-game series at least. The game-to-game adjustments and even in-game adjustments a lot of times end up being the decider for these series. People love to criticize Tibbs. JB Bickerstaff is not the coach you want in these situations. He either doesn't make adjustments or he makes the wrong one when he does make adjustments. Last year, George Niang was playing as the Cavs was losing, and even the season before, as the Cavs were struggling more and more. George Niang was supposedly his solution to a lot of these issues. Obviously, that didn't work out. Donovan Mitchell, you're struggling. Yeah, we're just going to have you keep driving into 3 people with no options to kick out to, no shooters to kick out to. The Pistons are more or less in the same situation. I think, actually, JJ, we might still be on opposite sides of this. Who did you have winning the series again?
I do have Detroit.
I think I'm going the Knicks, which I know I'm saying this wearing the K jersey. I have the K jersey, so I wore it. But I just, one, I can't back Bickerstaff knowing what I know about him. And 2, this feels a lot like the Magic and Cavs last season, where the Cavs, even though they hadn't made a big run, they've been in the playoffs before. They had players that they know they can lean on. They've been there. Orlando, while they had a very good defense, they had this tough attitude. They had young and up and coming pieces. It wasn't enough. Even though it went to 7, the Cavs pulled it out late. I think nobody watched that series and thought the wrong team won. And I think that's going to be kind of what we see here. I don't think it's going to be handled cleanly. I think 6 games minimum, most likely 7 games, but I do think the Knicks pull this out. So this will be one of the few series that me and JJ are on opposite sides of. Maybe we'll find some nice little side bet on it or a way to track it just for some extra fun for you guys watching. But I don't think we're going to be picking a series winner to give out as an official pick, because I think I wanted to back the Pistons so bad. I told you I was going to back the Pistons when they first came out a couple of days ago. But the more I think about it, the more I need to back the Knicks here. But let's get into the picks.
Yep.
All right. These picks are going to be a little boring than the other videos, or compared to the other videos, because there's only one. No players, no winner. We're taking the over 5.5 in the series. So basically, we're betting on this game to get to game 6 or 7. We already talked about how me and JJ are on opposite sides of this thing. I mean, I'm on the Pistons, or I'm on the Knicks side. JJ's on the Pistons side. We do expect it to be close. Books are acting like the Knicks are going to wipe the floor with them 4-0-5 or 4-0 4-1. I'm picking the Knicks, and I think it's a toss-up. JJ's picking against the Knicks. I don't think he's picking JJ, are you taking the Pistons to win in 5 or less?
Nah, it's got to be 5 or more here. I think both teams still won on the road here.
Yep. So, yeah, this line doesn't make sense, considering I think most of these other games are pretty juiced over 5.5, and some series that I think are more lopsided. So for this one to be minus 125, we got this on DraftKings. put a unit on it, I'm happy to take it. It's gonna be a dogfight. Both of these coaches, both these teams, they like to be gritty. They like to be chippy. They both got good players. I think the experience might take them one side or the other, or the coaching might take it one side or the other, depending on which side you want to back. But it's not going to be done in 5 or less games. So we'll take the over at playable odds here. That's all we got for you. We wanted to dabble in Malik Beasley to finish the series with the most threes. It was minus 155. We considered it, but there's a little too much juice. Same with Cade Cunningham to lead the series in assists. Just a little too much juice. So we're not going to force the issue. We got 8 series to work with. We're not going to overexpose ourselves on one just because we got to make a video on it. So one play. We'll see you guys on the next video. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Make sure you guys go and watch our other breakdowns for all the other series. And we'll see you guys soon.